In the second part of our exclusive interview with IRAS officer Ananth Rupanagudi, we dive into some of the most debated issues surrounding public service and Indian Railways. Do bureaucrats really deserve the tag of being corrupt or inactive, or is there more to the story? And when passengers share images of dirty coaches or broken infrastructure, is it a failure of the system or a reflection of our own civic habits? Join us for this honest and eye-opening conversation that goes beyond headlines to explore the realities of governance, accountability, and the challenges faced on the ground. Let's talk something about bureaucracy. Bureaucrats से
Yeah.
जैसा सोशल मीडिया पे बातचीत होती है जनरली, तो people often believe कि bureaucrats जो होते हैं वो बहुत corrupt होते हैं and they don't really do any sort of work. So, in your opinion, how true or false is this perception? And based on your experience, how much corruption actually exists in the bureaucracy?
Chaliye, this is of course a very favorite topic of social media,
Yeah.
where everyone says that, if there is one institution to blame for all the ills of this country, it's the bureaucracy. And corrupt hai, kaam nahi karte hain, they don't work, and they are all privileged, they live a good life, and then they take all kinds of advantages but don't deliver to the common people. See, there are a lot of misperceptions. I'm not saying a lot of it is true. Let me admit that much. Quite a bit of it is true, but there's a substantial amount of exaggeration also, and a certain amount of misperception which is built in. Because see, maybe I also used to think about the bureaucracy in a more similar manner before I entered it, right?
Okay.
Before I entered the civil service, we all had such perceptions कि भाई corruption बहुत है ये, and let me tell you that all ordinary citizens have experienced corruption in some form or the other. Even maybe before entering the service, I may have also experienced and seen corruption from close quarters. And I mean, it's everyone's perception. And we can't we can't act like an ostrich in the sand kind of a thing and say that it doesn't exist. It exists, and it exists in, it's all pervasive. I mean, let me tell you that it's not just the government which is affected. The society itself, there are various levels of corruption which takes place. There's a level of corruption in the private sector also, but it's important that we deal with the levels of corruption in the in the government. So, regarding the integrity aspect, my view, and it's a view which is held by many others, is that there are two dimensions to integrity. One is the moral integrity, which is regarding acceptance of money and favors and all that kind of a thing. And another equally important thing is what was professional integrity, which people don't really talk about, which is very important. Moral integrity is absolutely essential. There cannot be any compromise on that.
Right.
But along with that, there has to be a level of professional integrity, which I feel is lacking to a great extent. I mean, to at least I can say to some extent, it's lacking. Because, it's not important to be just honest. It's also important that you work.
Yeah.
That you work hard, and you deliver according to the targets laid down, you deliver on the promises made by the government, and you implement the schemes and the programs or any of these things to the expectations of the people, right? So for that, just being honest is not sufficient. Professional integrity is to add value, to be of some worth to the government. भाई आप जितना सैलरी कमा रहे हो उतना काम कर रहे हो कि नहीं? That is whether you are working hard, you're taking decisions, you have the moral courage to take decisions which will go on to improve the livelihood of people or add value to the kind of work which is expected from you. है ना? That is something which I feel is lacking to some extent. And most of the things which you see is again a reflection of the lethargy and inertia in the bureaucratic setup. आप देखते हैं the dirty streets. Okay. Now, dirty streets is again, let me tell you, is government has a responsibility in the terms of it has to, clear the trash and all that, put proper dustbins in place, everything. And citizens also have to cooperate. Right. So citizens also have a large role to play. In all this service delivery, wherever government is involved, the citizens have also got a role to play. As I told you about responsible travel about in the previous previous interview. So just like that, even in the streets, throwing trash everywhere doesn't solve the problem. It makes it all the more difficult for the government agencies to carry out the work. And so the professional integrity is something which very few people talk about. People, it's that, if there is a picture of a dirty street everywhere, or there is an example of poor workmanship also. Somewhere, like for example, there was this Gujarat mein jo bridge gir gaya.
Yeah.
There was let me tell you a recent example. Now, they say ki bhai, corruption involved. Everything is, there is a level of stereotyping which has taken place ki bureaucracy is symbolic with corruption. है ना? So that kind of a thing is, we need to sort of dehyphenate, in the sense that we need to detach a little bit. I'm not saying that there is, as I told you, there is corruption, and there is corruption at all levels and of different types. है ना? Corruption, maybe there are different levels of corruption, in which, let me tell you very frankly, the levels of greed vary. Right? So that is the kind of thing which I'm talking about. And I have seen it, and I have also been, when you are in public service, there is a level of temptations which people offer you. You don't go out to, become corrupt, but there are people who within the system who sort of offer you these temptations. So it's up to your conscience and your upbringing, your moral fiber. That is the thing. That is the shield, basically. I can tell you about my personal example, like about the kind of family and upbringing which is there. For example, I can just take 2 minutes to just share something about the integrity stories in my family. For example, my great-grandfather, he was a sub-magistrate.
Okay.
Just below Tahsildar. He was in the state government, in the Madras state government. He was a sub-magistrate in a town called Gutti, which is my father's native place.
Okay.
Where my father, was born and grew up. And my grandfather was a very successful lawyer in that particular town. Okay. So my great-grandfather was posted as sub-magistrate in Gutti, which is that town in Anantapur district of Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So now, this was, I am telling you, around 1913, 1914, us time ki baat hai. When my grandfather set up his legal practice in the same place. Okay. Now, my great-grandfather was holding some sort of a quasi-judicial post. You can imagine that my great-grandfather wrote to the district collector saying that I am posted as a sub-magistrate here and my son has started his legal practice here. So some of his cases may come to my court. वैसे कोई आना नहीं है, मतलब 99% none of his cases would have come most probably. But there is a likelihood of these cases coming before me, and hence there would be a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And I request you to kindly transfer me out to another station. This is when there is no specific rules on conflict of interest. This is a level of, मतलब मेरे lineage में जो integrity level है मैं उसकी बात कर. And then this is one story. And then, of course, then my great grandfather became a tahsildar, and then he retired as a tahsildar, and then he came back to the same house where my grandfather was, and he stayed for the remainder of his life in his house after retirement. That is a level of the moral fiber in the family. I'm not saying that that's a very high level of integrity which is expected, and I am trying my best to live up to that particular thing. But I can tell you that much ki on a personal level, not a single rupee has come from outside. Hai na? And I have tried to be as honest as possible in this entire thing. I mean, that's of course I needn't tell, but this is the kind of a thing which people expect, in a sense that, but at the same time, people talk a lot about bureaucratic privilege. है ना कि आप जो हैं, a small thing. For example, I posted a photo in social media about a picture from our colony. So our colony is, very well maintained and all that, and very green.
Yes.
You saw that. And then someone goes off on this thing saying that you are living a life of privilege. हम लोगों को तो ऐसा नहीं मिलता नहीं है. We don't live such a life. Why aren't these facilities given to us? I said कि भाई, this is a gated community of the railways. So they, मतलब अलग ही type के, in a sense कि these are the facilities which are denied to us. And you live a life of privilege. अरे भाई, ये officers colony है, railway is maintaining this campus, it's a gated community. There are a lot of other gated communities which are better maintained than railways, which are where all private individuals stay. So that is dependent on how your housing society maintains the entire thing. वो ये अजीब तरीका है. मतलब people have different views, and let me tell you that when I was recruited into when I got into the service, I mean the situation was I won't say bad, but it was we were pretty austere in our living. For example, in the sense that when I got into the service, salary कितनी थी? 8 to 9,000 was the salary, and then उसमें भी income tax काट के ये सब, we used to get around 7,500 or 8,000. I remember in the late 90s. Okay. And considering the cost of living and all that, we hardly used to get to save anything. And I can tell you that much कि भाई, शादी after marriage also, the sofa set came after 2 years of marriage. I am one of those few people who probably even took a PF loan for my marriage. और and we led a very simple life. गाड़ी भी नहीं थी. And even for purchasing a two-wheeler, I had to take a loan. I had to take a two-wheeler loan from a bank, and then repay it over the next 3 years. है ना? So वो two-wheeler में ही I used to go to office. Never had a vehicle. At that level, in the junior levels, you don't get. It's only after after getting up to a particular level, after 6 years of service and all that, then there was a hired vehicle which was provided. And a lot of my batchmates and others who were in other railways. Where I was in Bilaspur, so there, it was a new railway, so there were, better facilities given. But people who were there in Central, Western, and all this, in Bombay, for example, all of them used to travel by local trains. अब वो local trains में ही धक्के खा के office पहुंचते थे. So this whole thing about, yes, but once you reach the senior levels, once you reach a particular level, once you complete about 18 to 20 years of service, then your entitlements go up a little. You get a staff car, which is a vehicle which is a vehicle allotted to you, and then you commute. But even then, some people, some senior officers in Bombay, for example, they find it convenient to come by local train. कि भाई ट्रैफिक इतना है कि पहुंचते पहुंचते जो है, it takes 1.5 hours to reach office. By local train, I can reach in 20 minutes or half an hour. That is, of course, if the colonies are very far away.
Right.
So if the colonies are nearby, in Badwar Park है तो गाड़ी में आ जाते हैं लोग. So that is a level. I mean, the extent to which this is played out is very exaggerated. But yes, as you said, there are people with varying levels of integrity, and yes, there is a but the entire thing is again exaggerated because as I told you, there are we are very much concerned about people who are who don't work but who are corrupt. You know, we should be excessively concerned about people. For example, agar if the fellow has compromised on the quality of work and has, in fact, made money in the process, then we should be really concerned. But there are quite a few people who are corrupt, but who get excellent work done.
But how is it justified? How is it justified that you are doing a great work?
As I told you, moral integrity cannot be compromised.
Right.
But if you see the preference at the government also, people are equally concerned about the efficiency of delivery. They want people to be honest, but they want the delivery also and the projects also to be completed on time. So that is the kind of thing which is the expectation which is there. So लोग बोलते हैं ना कि भाई ये बहुत honest है, इसके वजह से इतने इसकी 50 transfers हो गए, 40-50 transfers हो गए. That's not the case. People say that just because of honesty, just because of standing up to dishonest practices, you are getting transferred for 50 times. I don't think that would be very true.
Then,
because
what's your opinion?
It's an opinion that some of the transfers may be because you have not been able to deliver.
Okay.
As I told you, honesty is, you should be honest. There is no compromise on that. But besides being honest, you should deliver, you should work. है ना? And you should take the initiative to ensure that the works are executed on time and then the services are delivered in an efficient manner. And not just that, you have to ensure that the machinery under you is also efficient enough to deliver such services in an efficient manner. That is the expectation.
अच्छा, करप्शन की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग, तो रिसेंट की बात करती हूँ. कुछ ऑफिसर्स के नाम आए थे जो कि यंग हैं, बट उनको करप्शन में पकड़ा गया है. तो क्यों ऐसा है कि यंग ऑफिसर्स सर्विस में आने के साथ ही कुछ सालों में ऐसे करप्शन में आ जाते हैं?
Yes. This is a matter of very serious concern, as you said. I've seen some of these cases. And what has happened is, Muskan, in these recent times, there's a level of expectations. The expectations or the standard of living have gone up.
Yeah.
And these officers who are coming within the government, into the government, they suddenly realize that the kind of standard of living which they expected after coming into the services has not come. And this is a very and this is a very smart generation. And this is where the private sector has come up, and they see their friends having this kind of a lifestyle. So they also fall victims to this kind of a thing, and at a younger age, and also it's a responsibility of their bosses to groom them properly, to tell them that these kind of temptations will come. You should not fall prey to them. There will be people who will come to you offering money. You should not. It's something like, and this habit, this is something like drugs. You taste it for the first time and then you fall prey to the habit. That's the kind of, and I have heard stories about people who were honest up to a particular level of service, है ना, उसके बाद they fell victim to it, and they have told me stories after retirement about how how it has hurt them. It has hurt their conscience. It has hurt. It has hurt their health. So ये बहुत serious चीज है, and everyone needs to introspect. Everyone needs to introspect कि भाई all those people who actually indulge in these practices they have to introspect and see how it will hurt them in the future. And this is very serious. I mean, I see, yes, this is a matter of very great concern. And but at the same time, people should also realize, integrity issues apart, this is nothing related to integrity, but for example, when a particular person comes into civil service, why does he opt for civil service? Why does he opt for civil service? Civil service is a career. It's like a career, like journalism is a career, or being in the private sector and engineering, being an engineer or a doctor is a career. So this civil service is also a career. तो ये सोचना गलत है कि the sheer motivation, the only motivation for people to come into civil service is public service, है ना? तो अगर बोलें कि भाई मैं सोशल सर्विस करना चाहता हूँ, so नहीं, even we are told about it even in the coaching institutes, that whenever someone asks you what is your motivation for joining civil service or the IAS, please don't tell I want to do social service. Then the interview board will tell you कि भाई you are better off going into Ramakrishna Mission, where you can do a lot of social service. You need not come into the government to do social service. So you're here to do service, but you're here to make a career out of it. So, and whenever there is a career, then obviously you look into the compensation package, you look into the perks which are given, and all that thing. And these matter to whatever is officially and legally given to you. These are very important to you. They're very important to the kind of life you want to provide for yourself and your family, right? As I have told you that Indian Railways for me, has been a very good employer. It has given me a reasonable level of comfort, though initially I might have struggled, but later on, as I grew up in the career and my entitlements went up, then obviously my family and has grown up in a reasonable level of comfort, which I can't say is the kind of comfort which is available to many of my friends in the private sector. They live a much higher lifestyle, but santusht hai. Yes, we are content with the kind of lifestyle which Indian Railways gives, and the kind of quarters we stay in. Then we get our railway passes, which entitles us to free travel. And these kinds of government service does give you a reasonable level of comfortable life.
Right. And
people should learn to be content with that. It's basically the kind of expectations people come with, that expectations have to be tempered a little bit. कि भाई आप luxury life जीने नहीं आ रहे हैं. You have to, live a life of moderation, which means that yes, you will not be living a very simple life, but at the same time, you will not be living a life of luxury. There is a life in between where you can live a simple, contented life and a reasonably comfortable life. And people should learn to live with that level of contentment. That is a problem. And that is a problem which you're talking about, these young officers and all that. And another issue is that they're a smarter generation.
Yeah.
And this internet savvy generation, hai na? So they have done far more research. Like, for example, when we appeared for civil services, we didn't know what the services had in them. What kind of services, what kind of work which we needed to do in all these services. Now to ye log research karke aate hain. So they are already familiar with this with all the government services, even before they come into the service.
Maybe
So,
before they start preparing.
before they start preparing, they're familiar with it. So, so ultimately, it's the moral fiber of the society which is at stake here, which is ultimately what kind of values you grow up with, the kind of parenting, the kind of teachers, the kind of schooling you receive. These play a very major part in the kind of man or woman you grow up to. अब आप schools में these values should be made compulsory as a part of the instruction which goes on in schools. Value education जो है, this is very important. And unless you grow up with these values, you ultimately then you will fall prey to all kinds of things, and then ultimately people reach a point of no return. This kind of a thing. And so this is a very sensitive issue, and we need to. And yes, one thing about corruption, since you mentioned it, the government also needs to look into ways how they can reduce corruption using technology. Using technology and through reforms in their own procedures. अभी क्या है कि आपको गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर की अटेस्टेशन नहीं चाहिए किसी डॉक्यूमेंट्स पे. You know that, Prime Minister has taken out that thing. He has initiated that reform. तो पहले क्या होता था, अटेस्टेशन के लिए भी पैसे लेते थे लोग. हाँ, मतलब very petty, but they used to take. Some kind of a thing. Now, railways में कहाँ ज्यादा people used to face corruption with the TTE. When you travel. So now what you have done, you have firstly अब तो passenger reservation system आ गया, तो everything is computerized, your ticket is given to you, and now what is further reform which has been initiated is that you are giving those tablets, smart tablets to your TTs. If you started going on trains recently, then the TTs are not coming with their paper charts.
Papers, yeah.
They're coming with their tab.
Right.
Tabs.
Right.
And these tabs, they are all programmed that you will allot the vacant berths in the correct order of waitlist.
Okay.
So पहले क्या होता था कि waitlist पैसे लेके waitlist का jump कराने का वो कुछ करते थे उस समय, है ना? So with the paper charts and all those things. So now that's not possible. So how do you eliminate corruption? You use various reforms within the government. You use technology. Now in the revenue service, Indian Revenue Service, in the income tax department, now with the online filing of returns, so much of corruption has been cut down. Refund comes automatically into your account.
Bank account.
आपको refunds के लिए बाहर जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. And now they are gradually going to bring in what is called a faceless assessment.
Yeah. In administration also, faceless administration.
Yes,
so
yeah, which means that the person need not come to you.
Yeah.
It will be done online, and this using the internet, a lot of services can be done online, which will prevent any kind of face-to-face interaction with the official. Corruption कब होता है? When you have this, whenever there is human interface, there is a possibility of corruption. So when you eliminate the human interface and you use technology as the interface, then corruption is eliminated.
Right.
So now what is like, for example, the AP government is now going to deliver various services at the doorstep with the help of WhatsApp.
Okay.
They're working on it. Maybe I don't know whether to what extent they are achieving, but a WhatsApp request can get you the service at your doorstep. And like, for example, the AP government, I think the current Chief Minister of AP has been a very good votary of using technology in administration. And you will see in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana that the IT culture जो है उन्हीं का दिया हुआ है. And so they're using technology to deliver services to the people, which will eliminate the interface between the officer and the state. Even while granting, this home approvals, जो home construction के लिए जो approvals आते हैं, उसमें बहुत सारे complaints आते हैं. For getting approval of your plans and drawings and all those things, उसमें आपके corporation में there is a lot of. So why don't you enable online submission of these drawings? And the approvals also to be given online. And a specific time limit to be set for all this. So this kind of reforms, if you work at, then corruption will come down. So technology is one of the greatest tools to reduce corruption in public life.
Right. सोशल मीडिया की ये बात हो रही थी, तो जनरली आजकल एज यू सेड कि लोग बहुत एक्टिव रहते हैं, सब पता होता है पहले से ही. तो जनरली जो लोग ट्रैवल करते हैं, ट्रेन्स में हो या रोड पे ही क्यों ना चल रहे हो, तो जनरली फोटो वीडियो बना के दे पोस्ट इट ऑन सोशल मीडिया, शोइंग कि कितनी ट्रेन कितनी गंदी है, ब्रोकन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है या पुअर कंडीशन है प्लेटफॉर्म का या कहीं भी. तो in your view, is this mainly a result of public's lack of civic sense? Yeah, it is also a sign that railways or administration efforts are falling short.
Let me be frank that we need to do more. Okay. From the railway side, I can tell you that we need to do more, and we need to improve the quality of trash disposal and all that. But that should not become a pretext for dirtying the coach, for throwing trash. है ना? तो लोग क्या करते हैं? I know of people, responsible travel की बात हो रही है जैसे, तो people take separate bags, trash bags with them, and then at the end of the station, or जहाँ भी, whenever the trash can is empty or they have been emptied or somewhere, they will put that bag there. Okay, so how can you become, instead of dirtying the coach, how can you help railways? But yes, railways needs to improve in terms of providing more dustbins, or in dustbins ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकता because there is a design constraint. But trash disposal, cleaning the dustbins at specific stations, maybe I think we can do a little better on that. I have myself posted. अब citizens की बात मत करिए. I have myself posted clogged toilets and these other things, saying how how passengers have disobeyed our instructions and have caused these, clogged toilets and other trash in the coaches and all that. So it's both ways. So we should do more. The citizens and passengers should cooperate so that we can bring about a more clean and, more efficient kind of a transport system in railways.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Muskan. It's nice to be back again. And I think we had a little more, a little more productive discussion on issues connected with railways and bureaucracy and all that. And, and these are no fixed answers or no fixed solutions. I think people have to evolve. That's what.